Sorry.
I'm so glad that you're all here today, and I'm particularly glad that I get to be joined today with Caitlin, whose idea was the service. The service is her idea, and with Teresa on piano, and with our tech team upstairs. And we're really grateful that it takes a village to put this together, and that's what the service today is actually about. Pamela Rumenick reminds us why community. To remember that one is not a whole number, that we need both roots and wings, that strength comes from relationship and mutuality, that we know life in and through one another.
We meet in the spaces between us.
Stillness,
Music,
heard and unheard.
the apparent void teeming with the you and the I that overlap in this once sacred living moment.
We meet in the spaces between us.
Come, let us meet and worship together.
I invite you to grab the gray hymnal. We're going to sing number 349, but on your way to standing, can you take a moment to greet the people around you, wish them a good morning, let them know how great you are.
Love is the spirit of this church, thank you, and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our time for all ages this morning is this beautiful book called The Wolf, the Duck, and the Mouse by Mac Barnett, illustrated by John Klassen. And on the front, we see a wolf, a duck, and a mouse. Early one morning, a mouse met a wolf, and there we see them together. And he was quickly gobbled up. And there we see the wolf's tail walking away. The mouse disappeared. "Oh, whoa," said the mouse. "Oh, me, here I am, caught in the belly of the beast. I fear this is the end." "Be quiet," someone shouted. "I'm trying to sleep." And the mouse shrieked, "Who's there?" A light was lit. A duck lay in a bed. "Well," said the duck. "Oh," said the mouse. "Is that all?" asked the duck. "It's the middle of the night." The mouse looked around. "Well, out there, it's morning." "It is," said the duck. "It's so hard to tell. I do wish this belly had a window or two. In any case, breakfast." And there we see the duck sitting up in the bed with a candle, looking over at the mouse. The meal was delicious. "Where did you get the jam?" the mouse asked. "And a tablecloth?" The duck munched a crust. "You'd be surprised what you find inside of a wolf. It's nice, said the mouse. It's home, said the duck. You live here? I live well. I may have been swallowed, but I have no intention of being eaten. For lunch, they made soup. And here we see they have many knives. There's a very working kitchen. They have chef hats on. The mouse cleared his throat. Do you miss the outside? I do not, said the duck. When I was outside, I was afraid every day wolves would swallow me up. In here, there's no worry. There we see the duck walking through the dark forest. The duck had a point. Can I stay? The mouse asked. Of course, the duck said. And this called for a dance. And there they are dancing in their chef hats, having a beautiful time in the dark valley. The ruckus made the wolf's stomach ache. Oh, whoa, said the wolf. Oh, shame. Never have I been in such aching and pain. Surely it must be something I ate. The duck shouted up, I have a cure. You do? Asked the wolf. Yes, an old remedy sure to settle your tummy. Eat a hunk of good cheese and a flagon of wine and some beeswax candles. That night, they feasted. And there we see them feasting with top hats and candles and wine and grapes and a beautiful tablecloth. The duck made a toast to the health of the wolf. But the wolf felt worse. I feel like I'll burst. It just hurts to move. A hunter heard the wolf moan. And there we see the hunter through the trees. He fired a shot, but missed in the dark. And we see the wolf running, and we see the duck and the mouse flying in the air. And the duck called up, run, run, run for our lives. The wolf tried to escape, but he tripped and got trapped in an old oak tree roots. And there the wolf was looking terrified at the hunter closely pursuing behind. Oh, whoa, said the duck. Oh, doom, what can we do? I fear this is the end. The mouse stood up. We must fight. We must try. Tonight, we ride to defend our home. And there we see the mouse with a hockey stick and the goose holding his head. Charge! And there we see them jumping out of the wolf's mouth, flying into the air, holding the hockey stick, looking very strong. Oh, whoa, said the hunter. Oh, death, these woods are full of evil and wrath. He fled the forest and never returned. And there goes the hunter running away. The wolf bowed down to the duck and the mouse. You saved my life when I thought not to spare yours. Ask a favor of me and I will be glad to grant it. And there we see the wolf bowing, looking at the mouse and the duck. Well, you can guess what to ask for. And there we see the mouse and the duck dancing again deep inside the wolf's belly. And that's why the wolf howls at the moon. Oh, whoa, oh, whoa. Every night he howls at the moon. Oh, whoa. So sometimes being in community can feel like that in the best ways, this kind of magical moment that we get to have together in this otherwise secret or unknown spot. And there are other moments that are just really hard to sit in that darkness. Wendell Berry writes this beautiful poem called The Peace of Wild Things. When despair in the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. This is the moment we hold each week in our service to rest in the grace of the world and to be free together by sharing the joys and the sorrows in our community. I invite, if you have one to share, I'll bring the microphone to you for you to share it, and we will respond to you by saying and moving, we hear you, and we hold you, and we care for you. We hear you, we hold you, we care for you. But before we do that, can we celebrate the joy of anyone here visiting today? Anyone here, perhaps for the first time or who a second or third time would like to introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm Lois Morris, and I was here last week, and I'm delighted to be back with you again this week before going back to Wilmington, Delaware.
Thank you, Lois. We're glad you're here. We hear you and we hold you and we care for you.
This is my first time at this church. I live in Wilmington, Delaware, the lowest of, and I come here every summer. But this is the first time I've been to church, and so I'm glad I did.
We're glad you did too. Thank you, Rita. We hear you, we hold you, and we care for you.
Hi, I'm Roshana. This is Robbie. Yeah, our first time here. We live in Windsor.
Thank you. Roshana and Robbie, thank you for being here. We hear you, we hold you, and we care for you. Joys or sorrows in the community this week to share?
Hi, I'm Susan, and this next Friday, I have this shoulder replaced. I've had the right one replaced. And so if you'll all put me in your thoughts, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
For you with us today and for the healing journey ahead, Susan, we hear you, we hold you, we care for you.
Hi, I'm Janet, and good news and bad news. Good news is that I can now eat crunchy food. The bad news is the reason for that is that I had to have my implant removed. So it's healing up, and that's why I keep, getting sick and not getting, because it was on a meridian, I am convinced, and that wouldn't allow it to heal. So, $6,000 later, I don't know what's going to happen now. So I got a little anxiety going on. So hit me.
So Janet, for your continued healing, we say, we hear you.
I'm Mickey, and a week ago, Bon and I were in Hilton Head, South Carolina, where you are constantly enveloped in a hot, wet blanket. But we were there to witness the wedding of my daughter, Jenny, to Joel. Jenny has one child and Joel has two, so we have two new grandkids. Her beach wedding didn't go off as planned because a half hour before it was scheduled, a huge thunderstorm came through. We saw more rain in that hour than I think we've seen all year in Colorado, which isn't saying a lot. But anyway, the wedding planner found a beautiful spot in a marsh, birds everywhere, animals, that kind of thing. So it was actually very nice. We got to know Joel a little better. We've known him for a year now and got to meet his parents for the first time. So that was really wonderful.
Thank you. So for Jenny and Joel and Mickey and Vaughn and grandkids and new beginnings, let's say, we hear you and we hold you and care for you. Well, this way they can hear you on Zoom.
Just wanted to report that Rachel came into town last night after midnight with my new to-be grandson. So we're kind of having a nice time. We're going to be running around all over the place having fun.
Great. We're running around all over the place and having fun. Let's say we hear you.
We hear you.
And we hold you. And we care for you.
Hi, I'm Norma, and I have kind of a silly joy. There's been a pair of ducks, and I swear they're the same ducks that come to my bird feeder and kind of hang out in my backyard from time to time. And this year for the first time, after I got home from a week in Santa Fe, I looked out and there was Darla Duck with 4 little ducklings follow her. So that was my joy.
So for ducklings and all the little joys, when we notice them, they're right there. Let's say, we hear you.
Hi, my name is Donna, and this joy, I think, is for all of us. They finally passed some legislation to address climate change. And that to me is a huge joy.
Thank you, Donna. So for the earth, we say, we
We
hear
hear
you.
you. We hold you.
The co-chair of the Social Justice Ministry, Sue Matthews, her daughter has spinal meningitis. So if we could send some energy to Sue on her healing journey, who's taking care of her daughter through that one as well. Also too, thank you, Pete, for catching me. And last service, I was bleeding through the whole thing and my boo-boo is getting better. So God bless you for catching a 150-pound bag of potatoes falling from 7 feet out there. Yay. We're all going to send him pom-poms. Stuck the landing like a cheerleader. And also if Tracy, if you're on there, I've been texting her and sending her pictures. Our sister Tracy, she's still not feeling well. So we can send her some energy as well. Thank you.
Continued healing and the care of this community, let's say. We hear you.
Hi, I'm Sally Henry and I'm the president of this congregation and I have a great joy to share today. We have a minister coming this fall. The Ministerial Search Committee. The awesome Ministerial Search Committee headed Leonard Sokolowski with the help of Brian Jarvis and Brenda Christensen. We had a late applicant and she is awesome. We're really excited. So I want to read verbatim the announcement that they wrote that'll be going out to everybody today. The committee interviewed a candidate recently for her interim ministry position. They are delighted to report that they were very impressed with this person and recommended to the Board of Trustees that we should hire her. Shortly thereafter, the board voted unanimously to offer her the position and she accepted. We now have a wonderful minister to guide us through the interim period. Her name is Dana Lightsey, the Reverend Dana Lightsey. She is currently serving in the Boulder UU Church and as an assistant minister and will be joining us late in September, late in October, 1st of November. She obviously has to give notice. She was intending to spend another year in Boulder, and so she's cut that short to join us. Reverend Dana has more than 15 years of ministerial experience in UU churches. She served as an interim, contract, and assistant minister, plus doing work in developmental ministry and in religious education. She's an accomplished musician, a professional flutist, and has performed in the International General Assembly. She and her husband live in South Fort Collins. She's local, and they have grown children and grandchildren in the area. The search committee has found Reverend Dana to be a loving, warm person. In preparation for her time at Namakwa, she's been in contact with Reverend Laurel Leithert. She's had extensive conversations with Laurel, with whom she was already acquainted. because she's lived in the area for years. She's also past president of the Greeley UU congregation, and has served in a number of churches around here. She knows all the players and issues in this area. The search committee has, she's anxious to meet you, the UU congregation. She will be joining us on selected events before she actually starts, and you'll know when she's coming. Her search committee is happy to announce this very positive development. Our vibrant and loving church community has attracted a minister who we sincerely will believe will be a wonderful match. So we are so excited. So a few other things about her. She was actually, she's a graduate of Iliff, ordained in 2010. As I said, she is a professional musician. She's been a music teacher, director, choir director, band director, dancer. She's a flautist. She has danced the dances of Universal Peace, including at Namakwa years ago. She remembers as well. She says she's been watching our congregation for years. And she believes in a shared ministry, which is really important to us. So we will work in partnership with her. And she describes her personal theology as eco-spirituality with an emphasis on Sufism. So that's Reverend Dana Lightsey. We'll see more about her and get to know her soon. So, well, yes, thank you, Pam. The committee was awesome. So, really pleased. Thank you. And Claire, thank you for helping us make all this happen.
That's great. So let's say for Dana, with outstretched arms, we say, we hear you. We hold you. We care for you. We want you. We're ready for you. Let's go. So I invite, while sitting as a reflective music today, we're going to sing number 131, this beautiful song, Love Will Guide Us. 131. Oh, we have one on Zoom. Yes.
So Steve says that Kent Robertson had surgery recently for benign abdominal surgery. Sorry. He was in the hospital a couple days and is home now. Visitors are welcome, and the pastoral care team should have details on how to arrange that.
Okay, great. So you could reach out to Kathy or me or Sally on the pastoral care team to get in touch with them. And so for continued healing, let's say, we hear you. We hold you. We care for you. Thank you, Katie.
Bring together We good? Okay. Which microphone is it? Okay. Everyone hear me okay? No? Not yet. All right, how about now? Okay, great. I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm not even moving. But okay. Thank you. All right, well, I'll try to keep my electricity in check. Hi, everyone. I'm Caitlin, or many of you know me as Kat. I am the community building chair here at Namakwa. And when Fred called and asked if I'd be interested in becoming the community building chair, I was absolutely elated and very, very scared. I was elated because if you ask anyone, they'll tell you community is my thing. I like to call it my North Star. People have always been my passion, but I fell in love with something called intentional community many years ago. In case that's a new term for you, here is the Federation of Intentional Communities definition. It is a group of people who have chosen to live together with common purpose, working cooperatively to create a lifestyle that reflects their shared core values. While members of Namakwa don't technically live together, we do choose to come together with intention, common purposes, and shared core values. When I first came here, I actually came because I saw Laurel on the website and she looked like someone I knew from my dreams and I wanted to meet her. But as fate would have it, she wasn't at my first service, which I'm really grateful for because it was the intentionality of this community that I really fell in love with first. So being asked to support the growth of this community was a huge honor. So then why was I so scared? Well, I was scared because I was already struggling with my commitments, trying to get my business off the ground, mothering a rambunctious toddler. I was barely keeping afloat and very worried that I would fail. Fred assured me that people would probably take their time connecting after COVID, that I could take my time with it. So I agreed. And I have taken my time, though y'all haven't wasted any. And I found that this community refuses to let us fail. With much grace and flexibility and a lot of patient and passionate self-starters, beloved community continues to happen here. Truthfully, there are times even participating in this community feels a little out of reach for me. Between my son and work and my bank account and my energy level, some days just showing up feels impossible. Building community on top of that, well, it hasn't exactly gone how I imagined, but luckily in a confession of all of this to Claire, he suggested this opportunity to speak with you all today, because I can't stop wondering about the other people who are also struggling some days to show up. I can't help wondering how we can make community more accessible and how we can grow support networks that leave lasting change in our lives. I love this quote from Larry Kaplowitz, founder of an intentional community in Oregon called Lost Valley. At Lost Valley, we learned that sustainable community must be based on sustainable relationships, relationships that give more than they take, that nourish, enliven, and inspire us. Such relationships are a continual source of energy. They support us in being fully ourselves. Opportunities for sustainable relationships like these, I think, could be a renewable resource here in Namakwa. We may not live together, but we do come together to share our lives. So as we all continue to think about what it means to build this community, I invite you to ask, how can we also build each other? So in fact, I'd actually like you to take a moment with people nearby, a small group, 2 or 3 people works great, to discuss this question for a few moments. How can we leave our community and each other better for our time with it? So commence. Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much. Those sounded like really lively conversations. I'm curious if maybe a couple of you, if anything really touched you from the conversation or struck you that you'd like to share with the congregation. Oh, okay, that's all right.
We talked about, we discussed what we do. And of course, the main thing is when people feel welcome and comfortable and appreciated. So this is what we do that is the ushers for your table person. Can you repeat that?
But Janet was just saying that she was talking about ushers and greeters are making folks feel really welcome when they walk in the door, and that's an important thing that they do.
That is very important. Thank you, Janet. I remember that when I first walked.
Well, Leo and Peter and I are all in the choir. And I look at the choir as something that contributes to the congregation and feeds my soul. So we talked about that. Yes.
Leo says thumbs up. Well, he does something.
I shared that when Mickey and I started coming here, there was no choir, there was no minister, there was no building, but there was community. And from the first day we met, anybody who belonged, and it happened to be Tom Fleming and Barbara were at that first thing, we have felt part of this community. So it's, you know, the music is wonderful. This is the first church I've ever belonged to that didn't have a fabulous choir. And so I'm glad we're on our way. But it's the community that really has enveloped us.
Thank you.
We talked about the idea of this congregation building a legacy, one that continues deep roots, deep spirit, wide branches, as if John and I agreed, as if you're planting a tree under whose branches and shade you will never sit, but you do it for the future, for your belief and faith in everything.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, Trish. Okay. Oh, maybe one more.
Our conversation was so robust and fantastic, and I didn't even get a chance to share, but I'm going to share what we all collectively, may I have your permission to? So what we came together as, in order to build beloved community of what Kat is talking about, we have to be open, vulnerable, present, and focused in every moment with each person that we're with, not distracted and off, and not be, if we stay with each other through good, through troubles, and be honest and genuine at all times, people sense that, they get it, and then they can connect. Because if we're not real in the moment with each other, then that's not beloved community. That's just clocking in and clocking out. Now, did I get it kind of right? Yes. Okay, I got it. Yay.
Thank you.
That is wonderful. Thank you, Tam, and all of the rest of you who shared. So I am continuing this with a little survey that we will give you as you walk out the door. I'll probably make like a digital form as well, but it just asks you some questions about what makes you feel a part of community, as well as what are your needs, both within and without of community. What kinds of things could we all come together and make each other's lives a little easier around? So make sure to grab one of those, and hopefully you could bring it back next week or send it to me or find some way that I can get that back. So thank you. Oh yeah. Is it this? What it is. So one of the ways that we walk our talk here at Namakwa and that we do build beloved community is half of our offering plate each week goes to a local community charity. And this week it goes to the Thompson Education Fund. So please give generously. Got one more basket we're waiting for. All right. So to complete the offering, we say we dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings.
We dedicate ourselves
To the vision of this congregation,
to the vision of this congregation,
which is to radiate love, peace, and justice,
which is to radiate love, peace, and justice.
as together we work to build beloved community.
As together we work to build a beloved community.
Thank you.
And invite us into a space of meditation now. So on the wings of that music, I invite for your eyes to flutter closed or to look down, to find yourself comfortable in your seat, to feel your feet on the floor. And I'm going to read this poem by Padraig Ó Tuama, but first I'm going to invite us into 3 breaths together. So when you're ready, let's take a big breath in. Hold on to it and let it go. Take another big breath in, breathing all the way deep to your toes. Hold on to it and let it go. One more together. A big breath, filling your whole body with life, with air. Hold on to it and let it go. Continue to breathe as feels comfortable for you. Listen, it all begins with knowing nothing lasts forever. So you might as well start packing now. In the meantime, practice being alive. There will be a party where you'll feel like nobody's paying you attention, and there will be a party where attention's all you get. What you need to remember to do is to remember to talk to yourself between these parties. And again, there will be a day, a decade, where you don't fit in with your body, even though you're in the only body you're in. You need to control your habit of forgetting to breathe. Remember when you were younger and you practiced kissing on your arm? You were onto something then. Sometimes harm knows its own healing. Comfort knows its own intelligence. Kindness too. It needs no reason. There is a you telling you another story of you. Listen to her. Where do you feel anxiety in the body? The chest, the fist, the dream before waking, the head that feels like it's at the top of a swing, or the clutch of a gut like falling and falling and falling. It knows something. Try to stay alive. But for now, touch yourself. I'm serious, touch yourself. Take your hand and place your hand someplace upon your body. And listen to the community you are. You are such an interesting conversation. You belong here. Let's share one more big breath in. Hold on to it. With gratitude, let it go, allowing our eyes to open. And as your eyes open, I invite you to look around and to find someone you didn't walk into the building with today, someone near you, and just make a partner with them. Just make a knowing glance with them so you know you have a partner. Raise your hand if you do not have a partner, if we need some support. Tam needs a partner yet? Would you be Tam's partner? Or do you have a partner? Oh, you're Susan's partner. Okay. Tam needs a partner. You good? Okay. When you came in, you were invited to pick up a card and a pen and an envelope. I just invite you to take out the pen and the card, not the envelope yet. And to put that card on top of maybe a book, maybe a hymnal, something that you're going to be able to write on. If you need a card, throw a hand up, we'll grab one for you. If you're on Zoom, any piece of paper will do, and you could do this with anyone else on Zoom. And what I'm invite you to do is to just take a moment to look into your partner's eyes, have a breath, and then to do something really magnificent. You're going to create a portrait of your partner. But here's how you're going to do it. There are two rules. You cannot look down at the paper, and you cannot pick your pen up off the paper. So you're going to create a really beautiful blind contour drawing of your partner's face on there. So have a breath together, and once you're done, I invite you to begin creating a drawing of their face. Everyone's like, what? And I invite you to take a moment to share the face of beloved community with your partner. And now there's one last piece here. I just invite you to have a conversation with your partner, deepening the question that we began earlier, but with this very specific question. What do you need to feel cared for? What do you need to feel cared for? It could be in this community, it could be right now. And sometimes people will say really easy things. I need a house. I need a car that works, right? And if you get those answers, I just invite you to ask why after that. And continue to ask why until you get to a root, until you get to something that feels deep and meaningful from them. And after you do, I just invite we'll spend about 5 minutes to write a little love note on the back of your partner's portrait. And you're going to seal that up in an envelope and we're going to send it home with them. So they're going to walk out both with a reminder of the things that they need to be cared for in community, and with how someone else got to see them in this really beautiful moment today. So I invite you to ask them, what do you need to feel cared for, to have a conversation, and to write a little love note on the back of that card. Let's spend about 5 minutes. I think we'll just go straight into the last song.
Okay.
Yeah. So I invite you to take a moment to finish up wherever you are by telling your partner, by looking into their eyes and thanking them for this conversation. If you have more to write or more to say, please bring it into coffee hour. That's a great opportunity. And as we finish, I invite you to rise in body or spirit and sing with us number 121 in the gray hymnal, We'll Build a Land.
To remember
that one is not a whole number.
that we need both roots and wings.
That strength comes from relationship and mutuality.
That we know life in and through one another.
Thank you all today for sharing and singing and celebrating together. We invite you to coffee hour afterward. We want to give, before I do the benediction, a quick little bit of love for Kat. This is her first time being a worship associate today.
Thank you.
Early one morning, a mouse met a wolf. Early this morning, we met together. May we all venture into the woods to more deeply see and hear and care for each other. Have a beautiful week.
And community service.